welcome to this episode of LadyHeard. My name is Cegolene and I will be today's host. As usual, my two lovely ladies, Silvia and Schaida, are with me. Hi ladies, how are you?
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Hi. So I'm so glad to be in your company. And to be completely honest with you, I'm treating this episode as therapy because I cannot finance my station at the moment. So it all started 2 years ago when we decided to buy a house. Since then, for 2 years, it was searching, visiting, paperwork, losing bids, crying, and waiting. A ton of waiting. But we finally got a house, but the stress is not done, and I don't fully feel like an adult, so I often wonder who left me be responsible for our whole house. But hopefully, I will soon learn to be more responsible. With the beginning of this new chapter, I stopped myself for a second to look back at all the endings, beginning, and changes that we all have to go through in our lives. And it's a lot. Starting school, high school, then for some of us college, getting in or out of a relationship, starting a new job, becoming a teenager, an adult. Each time for the good endings that are planned, at least I had anticipation, but I was also afraid and sometimes wanted to take a step back and not go through that ending and ultimately new beginning at all. So my first question for you ladies is, what do ending, changes and beginnings mean to you?
In a way, to me, endings and changings could be limited to beginnings, kind of a fresh start. So they can be scary sometimes, even stressful, as you said, with the house, for example. But I do believe they come in our way because the good needs to die. So there is enough space for the best. And I can totally relate to what you said. Like, I left my mother's house when I was around 16 years old. I was still in high school, and after that, I moved within my country and then in different parts of Europe too.
Well, for me, if I were to say what endings, changes, and beginnings mean to me, is like my entire life so far, or almost, at least for the past 7 years. So where I've been moving countries, so like I can fully relate to Shaida's experience, and like also I know for you say that you also move countries, but also like areas. I would say it is a mix of excitement and also uncertainty at times, but I'm positive that the new changes, the new beginnings, and the ending of whichever experience I had brought me to a different place and time where I progressively was reaching bit by bit the best version of myself that I could possibly be. I think I'm somewhat on the closer to the ending part, but yes, I don't know when it will be, but yeah, that's how I feel it.
I think you can already a bit answer my second question I had, but maybe you can go more in depth. But how do you personally react to change? Does it depend on the change, or do you embrace it, or is it stressing you?
I think it's a little bit of everything at the beginning when you realize that there is something new coming your way, perhaps because you're kind of scared of what it can be. I think at first we try to, or personally I try to deny, no, I don't want to go through this. I don't want to do this. Why do I need to do this? And then once you open yourself to the idea, right, that there will be a change, regardless if you like the idea or not. And then you start seeing also the positive aspect of the change, that is having the chance to experience something new and usually something better. You really mourn your expectations, the death of your expectations at the put, and just be positive and be open for whatever is yet to come.
For me, I think changes, as I was explaining before, comes with a bit of uncertainty, but also excitement. Like looking back at all the past experiences that I've had, like there were obviously ups and downs like every experience, but there were such good moments that like I still think about them, and you know, for example, like despite having left Ireland for in 2022, like I'm still in touch with Sego, and we're here today to have this podcast together. We're still friends. We're still talking about our daily lives. So, I mean, changes can come with something positive too, because you have the good things from the past experiences. So, in a way, you have a sort of armor around you, and a network of people that progressively expands instead of shrinking, hopefully.
I think I'm like a grandma. You know, I have my habit, I have my routine. So changes, I have to.
Yeah.
I'm like a bit like, oh no, but it become a new habit, a new routine, and so now I'm able to embrace that new change. But I need a time to settle in that new beginning, and I think ending are something that change your life from one state to another, and there will always be a beginning after an ending, because a new state is starting. So everything goes together. What was the change that was the most difficult for you, and why?
Well, for me, I have to say that the most difficult change was actually living in Ireland, because I was devastated. I realized the very last few days that I wasn't ready. I mean, I was ready to go to other countries, but I didn't know that it would impact me so much, because I had had my first stable life for a bit, and I had made friends that felt like home, you know. So in a way, I think that was the first biggest change that I experienced, and after that, maybe the rest came a bit less traumatic. Yes.
May I ask,
Yeah.
you know, when you leave Ireland, was it because for people that don't know in Ireland, and I think kind of everywhere in the world, it's kind of really hard to find somewhere to live. It's become really expensive. Is the reason why you leave Ireland, was it because you wanted to travel the world and to discover other culture, or was it because of how difficult it was to live there?
Well, in my case, I felt that I had stayed enough, that the country had given me all that it could possibly give me, and that I was satisfied with the experience, and that's why I was ready to move on to other places, and experience other things, meet new people, and so on. At the same time, because I had created my bubble, let's say, in a way, although it was lockdown, so you had to have a bubble, because otherwise you would have gone insane. But yeah, I think there was a lot of turmoil inside that I didn't realize I had, and then eventually calmed down, and I'm happy to have all these people still in my life. So yeah, that was more my experience of it.
Okay. You're really brave. It's like you had your bubble, and you went to to destroy it and to start somewhere new again. It's like a big change. It's not in big new beginning.
Oh, it's an easy one. For me, was live in Brazil. So I studied international relations, right? And as the name suggests, is very likely I would have an international career. And it was so obvious, but still I couldn't see it, or I was refusing to. And well, why? Because I loved my life back in Brazil, my culture, the place I was living in, my friends, my family, which was still far away, but in a closer setup than now. And I wish I could have found everything I dreamed of in one single place, and perhaps you can relate to that. But I couldn't, and I refused to shrink, to limit my dreams and my potential by settling for whatever I could find there just for the sake of saying, okay, I'm happy here, so let's stay. And work-wise, the city was not offering me enough. And I see also for my friends who basically found anything that was more or less related to international relations, but still nothing really international relations roots, the core of the area, let's say. So that aside, also politically, economically, and socially, Brazil has become worse on a daily basis. I think that since the impeachment of Dilma Rousseff until today. And it was a hard decision, but today I know it was also the right one.
You're also brave. That's crazy.
I had to be. Thank you.
I think that we're just the brave ones. Also, you are brave, so.
But the thing is that you did, you took that decision alone, but I wasn't alone. I don't think if I wasn't with my partner, I don't think I've moved to another country. Just before going to college, so starting adult life. And I was so stressed that my period stopped for 6 months. It wasn't the exams that were giving me a hard time. What really stressed me is that, like, in the last year of high school, you have to choose what you want to do for the rest of your life. You have to choose which study you want to do. Like, about that. How can you ask someone that is like late teenager to make such a big decision for the rest of your life? And so it really stressed me out, and it was a really difficult change. And I had a similar issue during my last year of my bachelor degrees, and I didn't really know where to go. I think maybe I wasn't as passionate as I thought I was about psychology, or I needed a really big change, and why I couldn't make a decision, and that pushes me to another country. Maybe it was meant to be. I think we kind of talked about it, about my question already, but what was the change that you liked best in your life, and what did you learn from it?
In my case, getting in contact with people who have different cultures and backgrounds, that kind of impelled me to learn more European languages. First thing, it was great at a professional level, in my case too, and also to develop some soft skills too. You kind of learn that your way of doing things are not necessarily the right way or the only way at all, but perhaps one among few other possibilities. So that helps you become more open-minded and more empathetic.
For me, I would say it was probably the decision to do the last year of master abroad. So in France, because I knew that I was needing this change so badly, and it was like, okay, this is a new city, new country, of the new things that you could possibly imagine of. And without that first step, I would have not been able to take the rest of the steps that I took after. So I think I'm very grateful to the me of 7 years ago for taking the leap.
So mine is kind of similar to Silvia. Is when I moved to Ireland. First, it helped me so much with learning a new languages, and I think it made me more independent in a weird way as well, because when I was in France, I never lived like more than 2 hours away from my dad. So if we have an issue, it's easy. But here he has to take a plane and all, and so I think I grew up more as an adult when I moved to Ireland than if I would have stayed in France. So in the future, is there any change that you're looking forward to and that you would like to make?
I mean, I do have an idea. I don't know how it's gonna turn out though, nor when it's gonna happen, but if it's not, I'll force it, because, it's been like a couple of years now that I've been wanting to. I would like to officially move to Spain and settle down, like, properly, meaning I have my own place, And then, I settle down in a place where, if there's any emergency back home, I can just fly and, be there for my family if needed. I realized I want to be in a country where, like, I feel more, like, as at home as I was feeling in Ireland. And, like, since I have some contacts there already, like, it doesn't make any sense to me to move to other places where I barely know people, and then I have to start anew because, it was fun and I don't regret it, but now I feel like I need a bit of stability. I kind of feel like the need to, pause and sit down for good.
I think if you can imagine, you can make it happen. So.
And you already moved to so many countries, so one more is like.
Yeah, I think after you move out for the first time, doesn't matter what you do. There's nothing that can stop you in a way. But I hope you if it's really what you want, I really hope you can pursue this dream and settle down and find something that makes you want to get out of bed every day. Many projects, many dreams, many everything. I do feel like sticking around in Brussels. I don't see myself moving out. I mean, I'm always open to the idea, but I don't see myself in the near future, of course. Yeah, I think there's, let's say, also give some attention to my projects, not only lead myself to, let's say, professional aspirations. Schaida is also important. I love my job because I try to communicate. I'm an international relations communicator, so I try to make sure that whatever I communicate, the messaging, will have a positive impact on other people's lives. And I focus so much on that, on, I don't know, fighting for world peace and generating an impact on other people's lives, that in a way I kind of forgot about myself. And I can't advocate for whatever cause I want to stand up for, but I also need to give myself some time and also have the right to make my dreams come true. So for me, Schaida, the personal level.
So the change that I'm looking forward to is, I think working wise, it would be because I have a job that's just for here for the pay. So to find a job or to make a job myself by being by launching my own company.
But it's good. It's also, yeah, work is one very important pillar of our lives, but it doesn't need to be the main one or the only one.
I think it started kind of with our generation that we realized that work wasn't the most important and was kind of a mean to live. But I would love to still have a work that is more creative and more fulfilling, because I feel really bored. And being bored every day is kind of not good for your mental health. It's kind of depressing. Yeah, it's kind of depressing. So I really do want to change that.
Well, you can think that perhaps your job is not as stimulating as you want it to, but you can find a motivation in the fact that it is sponsoring your dreams. So on a daily basis, you're getting closer and closer to where you want to get. So it's also a way to see things.
Yeah, and I see a good thing is that, thanks to that job, I was able to buy a house, because we had two salaries, 2 CDIs that were stable. But if I had a creative job, it might not have been that stable, so I might not have been to have the mortgage. But now I have a house, so I can take more risk. Because once you're mortgaged, they don't really care how you get the money, as long as they get paid.
As long as it's not illegal.
No, yeah. Because it's not. So for our listeners that might be a bit stressed and anxious about ending and changes, do you have any tip for them to handle endings and changes better?
Oh, yeah. Trust the process. You're gonna try to run away. You're gonna to fight against it. But trust me, trust the process. Really. You cannot change your circumstances, so don't stress about it. Just embrace the process. Whatever is meant to be yours will find your way. And in the meantime, focus on you, on the things you like, people you love, how you like to spend your time, and with whom you like to spend your time.
For me, if I were to give a piece of advice, I would say if you feel like that some days is too much and you have somebody you can trust around you, don't be scared to ask for help. Because I know that it can be very overwhelming. So yeah, don't be shy, and I mean I'm sure that you have somebody around you that can support you in the best way that you can while it's your pursuing your dream.
I agree with both of you, and to go further with Silvia, if you because I think we talked only about more positive ending and changes, but there are endings that are unfortunately bad, and like a breakup or losing someone you love. So if you need someone professional help to go through a grief, go see a therapist. It will help you deal with the situation better. It's kind of a mix of both, of Schaida and Silvia said, but trying to take everything one step at a time and trying to embrace it. And if you start to suffocate, just stop and breathe and try to start again, step by step.
If you're trying to change your life or career or whichever thing, we're all rooting for you, so we believe that you can. And go for it. It will come out.
Yeah. Don't give up. It's only hard because it's special.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of LadyHeard, and thank you, Schaida and Silvia, for your experience with endings and changes. I hope this discussion was of help to some of our listeners. See you soon in another episode of LadyHeard. Bye!
Bye.
Bye.